Lord Tremendous here. Got a brand new battle report here for you, and I have now shown you the new army I'm playing. And I know there was a collective sigh in the Warhammer world. Everyone's like, what the F are you thinking about? Well, allow me to explain. I've been toying with doing a Tomb King list for a while now, and I didn't because, I was really into the Warriors of Chaos and stuff like that. And I couldn't decide. I was honestly torn between Tomb Kings and Lizardmen for a long time. And the other day, maybe 3-4 weeks ago, I picked up the Tomb King book finally. I have the Lizardman book, but I didn't have the Tomb King book. So I was reading through it and stuff, and I enjoyed it. And I like the story. I like the models. They do have some cool models, you got to admit. And it was starting to eat at me a little bit. And then the wife saw it, and she thought that the models looked really cool, and she goes, I would really enjoy painting those, blah blah blah. And that was pretty much what was going to happen. So I told the local store manager and stuff like that, what I was planning on doing and stuff. So he gave me a free box of Skeleton Warriors, because let's face it, they're not flying off the shelf with Tomb Kings, and and plus that was really cool of him. I really did appreciate that. And I started my army that way. I started with the army list and everything, and then shortly after that, I ran into a buddy who had a bunch of Tomb King stuff for sale, unpainted and stuff, and gave me an amazing deal. So how could I say no? And that's how this army came to be. I was like, you know what? Screw it. Let's play some Tomb Kings. And the fun part about it is now when I lose, I just blame the army. I just say, oh, well, it's nothing I did. It's because Tomb Kings suck. But when I win, I am a tactical genius. No, I'm not really going to do that. If I lose, it's my fault. And if I win, it's probably my opponent's fault. But me and my buddy got together. And I ended up, I went home and I grabbed my Tomb Kings, and while I was gone doing that, he got a hold of a Bretonian army he's been wanting to play, and so he worked on a list. He just kind of threw a list together while I was off getting my Tomb Kings, and this is the game that we ended up playing. So it was a 2,500 point battle, Lord Tremendous of now the Tomb Kings versus Mr. Fancy Pants of the Bretonians.
Assemble the army!
Here's my list. This is my first list with the Tomb Kings. First ever army list with the Tomb Kings. Let it never be said that I was good at making lists. But here was my first shot at it. My list that I'm using currently has changed. So, yes. First up, I have a Tomb King as my general, Lord Tremendous. He's got a shield, an ogre blade, the armor of destiny, the dragonbane gem, and the potion of speed. The idea here was I gave him the ogre blade so he had magical attacks and strength 7. Granted, it's only initiative 3, but I figured at the time, maybe it'd be better than an initiative 0, but that was the idea. Armor of Destiny, because these guys are hard to armor up. I'm not used to it. I'm used to Chaos Demon Princes and stuff with 1-up armor saves. So the best I could really do with the Armor of Destiny and the shield is a 4-up, 4-up, which kind of bugged me. I have a different kit for him now, but this is my first attempt at it. Gave him the Dragonbane gem, honestly, because I had 5 points to spare, and I wanted to give him some sort of protection against fire, since apparently he's doused in lighter fluid. And I gave him the Potion of Speed, so that if I needed to be initiative 6 for a turn, I could be. That was the plan. Then, of course, I have a Lich High Priest, Queen Elizabeth. You say that on your knees. She is a level 4 wizard with the Staff of Sorcery, so I'm +5 to Dispel. The Talisman of Preservation, because I wanted her at the time to have a 4-up ward save in case something got a hold of her, God forbid, or if she rolled on the miscast chart and took some damage. And obviously the lore of Nehekhara, because honestly, I kind of like the lore. And, I have to take it. My hero choices were a Tomb Herald, who was my BSB, Shield, Armor of Fortune, Luckstone, and Iron Curse icon. Obviously gave him the Armor of Fortune because that was the next best possible armor and ward save I could give. Well, my next most important character. Made him the BSB. I toyed with not putting a BSB in the list, but I wanted to try it. because really the way I see it, it's +1 combat res, which means 1 less crumble, and the BSB makes it so that everything within 12 inches crumbles 1 less, and I planned on using a lot of arcane constructs, so I thought -2 to any of the crumble checks would be really useful. The luck stone was... I don't even know. And the Ironcrest icon was because he was going in my brick of Skeleton Warriors, and I wanted him to have some sort of save against War Machines. Next, I have a Necrotech with a Tormentor Sword and Enchanted Shield. The Enchanted Shield was to give him a 4-up armor save. The Tormentor Sword, and I gave him a 4-up armor save because the shield gives you 2, and they wear light armor. The Tormentor Sword I gave him because I realized I was woefully low on magic attacks in this army, and I try to do an all-comers list. What I didn't think about at the time was giving him a Tormentor Sword and the Enchanted Shield negates his parry save. So I ended up changing that in my next list. But yeah, it was really just to give the unit that he's in magical attacks. And then the next Necrotech has a Dragon Helm because I want him to have a slightly better armor save and some protection against fire. My core choices were, I'm very fond of these actually, 57 Skeleton Warriors with light armor and full command. And I have a big brick of Skeleton Warriors because the idea here is my skeletons can come back, your live units won't. So 57 with 5-up armor, 6-up parry. The armor and the parry saves, I'm just, trying to negate as many wounds in close combat as I can. I know it's not going to be a ton, but it is better than just light armor and spears. I know I would get some extra attacks, but at strength 3, I'm not going to be doing a whole lot against most things. The idea is that the characters do some damage, and the skeletons, they do damage, but they can absorb a little bit as well. Full command is obvious. The unit champions come back, which I love. I have a unit of 3 chariots with full command and the Banner of Eternal Flame. The reason that there's a full command is because I wanted my fortitude to be higher. The unit champions in there just in case the Skeleton Warriors are... This was my backup unit. The Skeleton Warriors, and I have Tomb Guard. But the idea here is the Skeleton Warriors take the charge and they're my anvil. The chariots come in and in the flank or hey, maybe even a rear, and do damage that way. 3d6 strength 4 hits flaming because they're the Banner of Eternal Flame could be very useful against, for example, a horde brick of trolls. When would I ever run into something like that? Or anything with regen, even ogres, when they have regen on them or something like that. That's kind of where I was going with it. That was the idea. But that's why I have that particularly. Plus I really like the idea of having a unit of 3 chariots. And then I have a bunker unit of 13 skeleton archers with full command. That's where my Lich Priest will go, my Hierophant. And I don't expect the archers to do anything. Their job is to keep the Lich Priest safe as possible and give him a unit to possibly even jump out of if the situation calls for it. My special choices are 27 Tomb Guard with full command and the Standard of the Undying. And I like this unit because it's 27 strength 4 attacks with Killing Blow, and I'm a huge fan of Killing Blow. Full command is obvious, and the Standard of the Undying basically it's a power level 5 spell that lets me bring back d6 plus 2 Tomb Guard, which is good because if they are ever too far away from the Lich Priest, or the Lich Priest just doesn't have the spells to keep on giving them, on 2 dice I should be able to bring back d6 plus 2 Tomb Guard, which is useful. It keeps them around a little bit longer. Then I have a unit of 3 Sepulchral Stalkers. They're not the asps, they're the other ones, and I like these guys. They ambush, but they Tomb King ambush, which is cool. And then when they get up there, if they're within 8 inches, they do an artillery dice worth of automatic hits. Strength 1, but it goes against your initiative. These are my answers to monsters and even potentially war machines. Like Dwarven war machines, these things would be great against because every hit is strength 1, but instead of going against toughness, it goes against your initiative, and it's no armor saves whatsoever. These things are vicious. If I misfire with them, then I take D3 wounds, no saves, or no armor saves, but it's a risk I'm willing to take. Plus, they look so cool. And they each have 2 attacks at strength 5 because of halberds, so in a pinch, I could send them into war machine crews, or even the rear of something that my Skeleton Warriors or my Tomb Guard are fighting, and that would be huge. Next up is one of my favorite models, though, Chimerian War Sphinx with Fiery Roar, because I'm not sure if I want to spend the 10 points on poison or not. Fiery Roar, 2d6, strength 4 flaming attacks is always worth it, especially at 20 points. But the War Sphinx at toughness 8 makes my mouth water. I'm sorry. The 4 Tomb Guard on in the Howdah get Killing Blow at strength 4 with Spear, so there's strength 5 on the charge. The War Sphinx only strength 5, but he's toughness 8, which means even great weapon toting what's it called? Ogres need 6s to wound me. You need strength 7 to need 5s to wound this thing. I like the Model 2 very, very much. It's very cool. My rare choices are a Hero Titan or a Hero Titan or however the hell you say that word. The reason I have this thing is because, number one, I got a really cool custom-made model out of the deal when I bought some from my buddies, and so I needed that model in the army. It was mandatory. And I also love the idea that it adds plus D3 to my wizard's casting when they're trying to cast a spell. It adds D3 to the cast. Can't force a miscast or anything like that, but it basically makes my level 4 a level 5 to 7. And then, he's got Shem's Burning Gaze and Spirit Leech in case I need it, but he's also there to stop anything from getting into the archers if that becomes necessary. So very useful creature, very cool creature. He's kind of weak in combat, but I like that he buffs. It makes my magic phase devastating. And then I have a Screaming Skull Catapult because I wanted to throw in a Casket of Souls, but I wanted to try to Screaming Skull Catapult first. So that's why I have that in there. The Bretonnian list, I didn't get it. I was so excited about the Tomb Kings, and he just put the list together. It was all handwritten. Halfway through the game, he actually printed one out on Army Builder just because it was hard to read his handwriting. So I didn't get his Bretonnian army list. I'm sorry. Here are the spells I got for this game. I do not own any Tomb King cards yet. I'm trying to win some on eBay, but right now they're like platinum dipped in gold and, I don't know, orphan tears. So they're really hard, and I'm just not willing to spend $50 on these cards. I'll make my own. Or maybe I'll have Token Gal make some. Who knows? But I got these 4 spells, 1, 2, 3, and 5. And honestly, I really like their spells. I like the way they work. And of course, I have Shem's Burning Gaze. I have... what's it called, Spirit Leech on the Hero Titan, and I also have the what's it called, the Banner of the Undying 5-up power spell. So I have like 7 spells. Here's my opponent's spells. He has a level 4 Prophetess, I think, with the Lore of Life, and then he has 2 other regular damsels, both with the Lore Beast, and they both took Wisdom's Wild form. Here's deployment, and I'll be perfectly honest with you, I have no idea what I'm doing here at all. So when I deployed looking for fun. I don't know what this army's capable. I've never honestly played it, as you probably already know. So the idea here was put them all out there, see what happens. Maybe it'll be fun, maybe it'll suck, but hey, this is the plan. So yeah, for the most part, I have my Tomb Guard all the way over there on the right, and the idea there was with all the Killing Blow they have, my opponent knows they have Killing Blow, those Knights are beautiful targets for them. And with the Necrotech in there, they have Hatred in the first round of combat. All you would have is a 6-up ward save against it. I'm going to chew through Knights like it's going out of style, so I put them way over there on the side just for fun. My big unit of Skeleton Warriors were going to make their way around. He does have a unit or 2 in front of me there. I wasn't sure where they were going, but I wanted to be ready for it. My Lich Priest stayed in the archers near the skeletons to buff them and to bring up more skeletons. The War Sphinx was there to give the big unit of skeletons some sort of punch, some sort of boost in their flank or whatever. Whatever charge the Skeleton Warriors, my Sphinx was going to charge. That was the original plan. Over on the left there, I have my Hero Titan and my Chariots poised because when my opponent put that Lance right up there, I think they're Questing Knight. No, they're Knights of the Realm. I got nervous because I knew they were going after my Archer unit, and I had to stop that. So I figured the Chariots and the Hero Titan should be enough to, if not deter them, at least keep them in combat long enough for my Lich Priest to run behind the Skeleton Warriors. Also, my Screaming Skull Catapult is being proxied because I don't own one. And it's that weird-looking Eldar model that's on the hill there because, well, Eldar stuff is pretty powerful. Here's my opponent's center, which consists of his Knights of the Realm. And there's no damsel in there. I apologize. And here's his left flank. From right to left, there's first 2 units are units of Knights of the Realm, one of which has a damsel in it. The one on the right, you can kind of see her in the middle. The unit in the middle here is a unit of Grail Knights, I think. They have great weapons. The BSB is in there, and another damsel, I think. And then that unit behind the hill there is his unit of questing knights, I think. I might have that reversed, I'm not sure. But his lord and his prophetess is in there. And hidden behind the rock, you can't see it, is a paladin on a Pegasus, one of those little flying horses things. Here's my right flank, which consists of my Tomb Guard with my Necrotech in there, and my Screaming Skull Catapult on the hill. And then, of course, you can also see my War Sphinx, which is just an amazing model. Here's my center. From right to left is my huge brick of skeleton warriors with my BSB, my Necrotech, and my Tomb King installed. Right next to them there is my unit of archers with my Lich High Priest inside, and my Hyro Titan monster, and that is just so cool. And by the way, I'll probably take pictures after they're painted a little bit close up. I know you can see the sword in his hand, but the sword on his hip is actually the sheath sword from that new Nagash model. A buddy of mine gave it to me. Very, very cool. That is Nad the Protector, and yes, he is named after the individual that gave me that sheath sword, because that was an awesome thing to do, and that model looks infinitely cooler because of it. And here's my left flank, which consists of my 3 chariots, my 3 Bernie chariots. Top of 1 went to me, but because the Bretonnians took a knee and decided to pray. But honestly, this is not an army that moves forward. This is an endurance army. This is an army that beats you in combat, and resurrects stuff because you can't. I fully expect vampires and other Tomb King armies to give me a real run for my money. So I went into top of 1, and all I really had was the Screaming Skull Catapult to shoot with, and it deviates horribly. I aim for that middle unit in the back right there of horsemen, and I end up hitting the mountain there, the rock on top of the hill. It was an awful shot. Completely missed everything. So yeah, none of my magic was in range, none of my shooting was in range, so top of 1 is exactly how deployment started. Nothing happened. Here's bottom of 1 after movement, and I apologize, I did lie a little bit. Some of my stuff backed up, the archers moved around and stuff, but other than that, yeah, that's pretty much it. So here's bottom of 1 after movement, and these guys come flying forward. Like, oh no, it's gonna be a short battle report. Everything that could move moved its max movement directly at me. It was awesome. So yeah, his Bretonnian army was heavily aggressive, and I was so looking forward to it. I was very excited. During his magic phase, he gets Throne of Vines off and Earthblood on his unit of either Questing or Grail Knights. I'm sorry. Whichever ones have the great weapons, I don't remember. I don't know a whole lot about Bretonnians. Other than that, he has no shooting, and the rest of his magic phase is, either dispelled or ignored. So we go over here to bottom of 2 after movement, and I do make some charges because, well, I've still got some Warrior Chaos in me. My chariots go to charge his Knights of the Realm on my left flank there, and he stands, and then my Hyro Titan, I got a little crazy. He decides to charge them as well. Well, they have to take a terror check. They fail it by infinity, and they flee and get away. So already it's working. I like that my left flank is being locked down by a unit of chariots and a badass monster. So, and he's still within 12 inches of the Lich Priest, so that's awesome. He's still giving the D3. Very cool model. I really like the combo. He's probably going to stay in the list for a long time. My War Sphinx tries to charge his Paladin on a Pegasus, because I figured charge, high ground, and hopefully a wound or two to hopefully nothing. I could break him and then slam into that unit of Knights in the flank, thereby stopping, his charge short. If I lose the Sphinx in the end, so what? It'd still be a lot of fun. Meanwhile, the Tomb Kings kind of back up a little bit so that maybe one of those units of lances fail to charge. My Skeleton Warriors backed up a couple of inches, but I figured they were going to catch that charge regardless. And that was pretty much it. Here's a better picture of my chariots and my Hyro Titans scaring off a unit of Knights of the Realm, which was so cool. And here's a better picture of the War Sphinx failing a charge to the Paladin. It's unfortunate, but it's okay, I'm having fun. During the magic phase, nothing happens at all, so all I'm able really to do is dispel his Throne of Vines, because if he 6 dices a spell and Irresistible Forces it, I want him to pay for it. During my shooting phase, I direct hit and misfire. It's only misfire 5, so it's, it just means he can't shoot this turn, but that could have been really bad. So already I've got a bad taste in my mouth for the skull catapult. Not because, okay, great, it didn't work the first time, so I guess you just hate it. I've never really liked war machines. I took the catapult because if it does hit, it would be really cool, but I honestly believe that a Casket of Souls would be a much better choice. Plus it adds D3 to your to your power pool. So I'm already debating the skull catapult, but I don't want to give up on it right away either, because it is a really cheap way to kill a bunch of toughness, low army and stuff. And the panic check is nice, but it's got to hit, and I'm really bad with these things. Nothing else happens, so we go to bottom of 2 after movement, and as you can see, the Knights charge. Both of his units in there, the Grail Knights with his Lord and Prophetess, and his Questing Knights with his BSB, charge into the Skeleton Warriors, and they make it no problem. His Paladin charges my War Sphinx and shows him how it's done. He makes it there. That unit of Knights that fled from the Hero Titan last turn rally, and the other 2 Lances of Knights charge my Tomb Guard and fail their charge. Like, I think the one on the left rolled 2 1s and a 2, and the other guys missed me by about 2 inches, so I felt pretty good about that. Here's a better picture of all those Knights slamming into my Skeleton Warriors. And while I was a little nervous, I was like, you know what? This is an excellent test to see what this unit can do, because they have high armor saves, they have good weapon skill, they have, a lot of combat res. Let's see how much abuse this unit can take before it breaks. Also, and I remembered it at this point, the Tomb King has my Will Be Done. So my skeletons are actually weapon skill 6 right now, so I was feeling pretty confident about that. Here's a better picture of his other 2 Lances and Knights of the Realm failing their charge towards the Tomb Kings. As you can see, the unit on the right is very close, so my Tomb Guard had every intention in the world of charging them next turn, and with a little luck, breaking them and overrunning into the next unit, which would have been spectacular. And then over here is a better picture of his Paladin slamming into my War Sphinx, and I was very excited about this combat as well, because I wanted to see what the Sphinx did in combat. During his magic phase, the only thing he's able to get off is Earth Blood. I'm able to dispel everything else. Thank you, +1 to dispel Staff of Sorcery. And so we go into combat over here, and to be honest with you, he immediately kills my BSB. He just put a whole bunch of attacks on my BSB and myrtleized him. It was unfortunate, it really was, but it starts to make me think that maybe having a BSB is a waste of points. As well as his unit does a lot of damage to my Skeleton Warriors. I lose a lot. I was able to put a few wounds through on him, but with the high armor saves and even the 6-up ward, he was able to make all of them. However, the Tomb King was able to put 3 wounds through on his Questing Knights, I think, and with him being strength 7, they did not roll a 5-up ward, and 3 of them died. So that was cool. One of his units was thirded. I lose this combat. As you can see, a bunch of skeletons drop, but I still have a ton left. So I'm starting to feel pretty good about this. Also, having the Necrotech in there giving me hatred, I got a lot of extra hits. Against something with lower armor saves, I think I would have done pretty well against them. So I'm not negative here. I'm actually feeling pretty good about this initial combat. So it's exciting. With that all said and done, I forgot to get a picture of the Sphinx versus the Paladin. I end up losing that combat by 1 because he charged. We don't do any wounds to each other. So since I'm an Arcane Construct, I actually didn't take any wounds, so it worked out just fine. So we go over here to top of 3. And as you can see, there's been a little bit. I think, for the most part, the Tomb Guard tried to charge the Knights, and they failed. I rolled pretty bad. It wasn't good. It wasn't good at all. Also, the Hero Titan kind of backs up a little bit just so that my opponent, since he rallied last turn, he get an easy charge on the Hero Titan. The Chariots back up just slightly for the same exact reason. The Archers stay right where they're at because right now they're safe. And yeah, this Catapult just sits still because it's got 2 units to shoot at, and hopefully I hit one. There's a better picture of the Tomb Guard failing a charge. Apparently skeletons are awful sprinters. What are you going to do? Not a huge shock. I'm used to failing charges and stuff like that, and I'm still pretty confident that on the charge these guys can take care of it, so it is what it is. During the magic phase, I'm able to get a 5-up ward save off of my Skeleton Warriors, which is pretty huge. I wanted Killing Blow, but he dispelled the crap out of that. And, but you know what, 5-up ward save, I was able to bring back 4 of my skeletons, and the unit is a little bit tougher now, so I'm happy with this. During my movement phase, I actually my opponent was kind enough to let me go back and roll to see if these guys came in, because I forgot in turn 2. By the time we remembered in turn 2, it was too late, but in turn 3, I forgot again. My opponent was cool enough to let me try to roll for the ambush rule, and they came in. They landed pretty much right where they're at. They deviated slightly, but they get to move their regular movement, and so they were able to get within 8 inches of these guys. I moved them there because I knew they were going to be into the tomb guard eventually. So they ran up and they did their little shots and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I couldn't roll 6s, and I only rolled 1. And the one that I did roll killed a guy. So that was something, but I mean, I got like 18 shots off on him, and I should have rolled at least 3 6s. Mathematically speaking, of course, and we all know how I love Math Hammer. But I only rolled 1. And it did kill him, so that was pretty cool. But it was a little unfortunate. I felt a little like I was cheated. My dice aren't rolling great on this side of the table, so what can you do? But I do like the unit. The potential is there if I could just roll average. If I could roll average with these guys, I'm going to do some serious harm. Over here in combat, I am able to do 1 wound to the Paladin, while the Paladin was actually able to slip 2 wounds through on the Sphinx. He was rolling some 6s, but he would have done a lot worse against a toughness 6 guy, because I think he's strength 6 or whatever. He was able to still roll 2 wounds, and they got him through. I lose his combat by 1, but again, it doesn't matter because I'm an arcane construct, and we take 1 less for losing combat and crumbles and stuff, so we stick it out. And you know what I love about this? I actually rolled a break check on his leadership 8, and I, of course, failed it. And then I realized, wait! I don't have to worry about that anymore! I like this! So... Oh, shut up. You've got to give me that. And then over here in combat, the Lady Protected, but I think it was on both ends of the board. I ended up taking 3 wounds here. It was unfortunate. Every wound I did to him, he either armor saved or ward saved, which was amazing. I ward saved a lot too, don't get me wrong, but it was a little disheartening to see how many ward saves he made and armor saves. I expected to do a little bit better. Like, for example, the Tomb King, he did 3 wounds, 2 or 3 wounds. I wasn't rolling all that great to wound. But he was able to ward save both of them, no problem, like with a 5 and a 6. It was a little disheartening. I don't think I kill any of the knights in this particular combat, but I think with combat res and stuff like that, I think we either tied or I won. No, I won this combat. I'm not exactly sure how, but yeah, I won this combat, and yeah, I'm fine, you know, so it's like, oh my god, they're really doing well. So we go over here to bottom of 3 after movement, and of course, the 2 units of Knights slam into the Tomb Guard. I don't think that his unit of Knights on the left flank did not charge. They just came forward. More like, you know, bring it on. I don't care. I'm gonna have to let you charge me, because you're not gonna let me charge them. So screw it. So we moved them up, knowing that the Chariot and the Hyrule Titan were gonna go back into him. I guess just to see what happens. Meanwhile, everything else he has is dead or in combat. So here's a better picture of his 2 lances slamming into my Tomb Guard, and I was excited about this one too because of all the potential killing blows. You know, you'd only have a 6-up ward if I get those killing blows off, and so I was really looking forward to that. During his magic phase, he gets Shield of Thorns and Earthblood off on this unit. Shield of Thorns was actually irresistible, and it was good because it was a level 4 that did it, and she miscasts 10. Yeah, and she loses 3 wizard levels. Between me, you, and the floor, I would have loved to see a miscast 7. I gotta be honest, just to see all the knights around her just take strength 10 hits would have been absolutely outstanding. But the fact that he just turned his level 4 into a level 1, and all he has left on this caster, his prophetess after this, is Throne of Vines, I guess beggars can't be choosers, so it all worked out. Meanwhile, his other damsel is able to get Wisdom's Wild Form off on that big unit there, so that kind of sucked, but what can you do? Combat over here, the lady is a bit overprotective and kind of is obnoxious. I got to be honest with you. She was able to, or, I'm sorry, my opponent was able to stop about 4 killing blows, which really broke my heart. Needing 6s, he rolled, and two on each unit. He rolled 2 6s on one and boxcars on the other. The 2 guys that died, otherwise they died from normal wounds. I did a lot of wounds, but they're 2-up armor save, which became like a 3-up, or maybe maybe they're 1-up with and became a 2. He failed a couple and they died. So 2 of his guys died, but with charge, 2 ranks, banner, and a buttload of wounds to 2 wounds, rank, and a banner. He did some serious damage to me. I crumbled a lot, but I was feeling confident that with the banner I could bring some back. Plus, I was going to charge and get a flank with the, or maybe even no, it was a flank with the stalkers. So, but the Tomb Guards stayed. You know, they were staying. I could bring some back if I had a good magic phase. So I was feeling pretty confident here. And then over here in combat, oh yeah, the Paladin's able to slip 1 more wound through on my Sphinx, but then he gets crushed by the War Sphinx, which is just absolutely fantastic. And then I debated. I wasn't sure who was in more trouble. I thought about sending the War Sphinx into the flank of the Knights that were in with the Skeleton Warriors, but when I thought about it, my Tomb Guard were in a lot of trouble. The Tomb Guard on top of the War Sphinx would really be useful against the unit that's into him. So I decided that I would turn and charge him into the unit of Knights that were there with charge, flank, high ground. That's adding 3 combat res right off the bat to a combat that the Tomb Guard are floundering in. So that was the plan. Over here in combat, that 5-up ward save is still working pretty hard. I'm able to kill I think 3 more of the questing knights, the ones on the right side. I'm not able to do anything to the ones on the left because that +1 toughness actually really stopped a lot of my wounds from getting through. But I end up losing this combat, but I only lose like 6 more models, which isn't bad considering I brought 4 back last year. So technically, I guess I only lost 2. So this unit I'm really enjoying. I really didn't think I would, to be honest with you, but they're doing really well. I have no complaints. And I'm doing exactly what I wanted that unit to do. They take the charge and they start whittling down the opponent, and my magic is allowing me to bring back all my skeleton losses. So eventually, I'm just going to out endurance them, and that's the hope. So, with all the fun over, we go to top of 4 after movement. And once again, my chariots charge a unit of knights, and they stand. And then my Hero Titan charges them, and they decide to flee. He actually decided to flee this round. So, and they got away. They rolled like 8 or 9 to get away. There was no way I was making that. So my chariots and my Hero Titan end up right where they're at. The Sphinx and the Stalkers charge the flank of the unit of lances that are in my Tomb Guard, and both of them make it, which is a huge, huge good thing. And other than that, everything I have is not going to move. There's a better picture of my chariots and my Hero Titans scaring off the knights again, although they did elect to flee this time. I'm not really sure why he did that, why he elected to flee, but he did, so whatever. And here's a better picture of all my constructs slamming into them. And I was really excited about this because I'm bringing, I think, 4 more killing blow attacks or something like that into the unit. Either way, it was going to be pretty cool. Yeah, it's 4 more Tomb Guard attacks into that unit. In the flank, no less. The Stalkers were strength 5. That, you know, fear, terror, all that good jazz. Really looking forward to seeing how that one was going to work out. During the magic phase, I'm able to get a 5-up ward save and killing blow off because I was a level 7 sorcerer for this phase. Every time he would cast a spell, the Lich Priest, or every time Queen Elizabeth would cast a spell in this phase, she was rolling +3 to her power because of the Hero Titan special rule. Just phenomenal. Level 7, all magic phase against his, at best, level 1. So it was pretty fun. I know that's a dick thing to say, but it's true. I enjoyed the hell out of that combo. So now they have a 5-up board and killing blow, and they're against something that is susceptible to killing blow. Very exciting there. And I was able to bring back, I think, 5 or 6 skeletons, which is huge. During the combat phase over here, I do great. I rolled phenomenal. Another 4 killing blows, a bunch of extra wounds, all that good stuff. He fails one save, one guy dies. One guy. That's with like 4 or 5 killing blows, a ton of extra -1, -2 wounds into his armor. This man could not stop making armor and ward saves. Not that I'm upset about that. Hey, if you're going to roll out of a box and you're going to stop my wounds, you're going to stop my wounds. Bottom line is, though, these guys did the wounds that they could have done. Unfortunately, with their armor saves and rolling out of a box for ward saves, what can you do? But 4 or 5 killing blows were stopped with 6 up ward saves. Could not believe what I was seeing. And yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, 4 or 5 more models should be dead. And yeah, unfortunately though, I think we end up either tying this combat or I lose it by 1. And my constructs are fine, but I lose, 3 Tomb Guard to the process. And ugh. Over here in combat, I'm able to finish off everything but the BSB in that right unit. And on the left unit, I think I kill 1 or 2 more of the knights. I don't remember exactly, to be honest with you. But I flub a little bit with my own saves. I end up losing this combat, and I lose another handful of skeleton warriors. But bottom line is they're still in there. They're still fighting strong. I've killed 1 unit. I've just got 1 more to worry about. So this unit's still doing what it wants to do, and I still have over 30 models in it, which is still over half strength. So I'm really, really happy about the way that's working out. So here's bottom of 4 after movement, and as you can see on the left side there, his units of Knights of the Realm, not only did they not rally, they ran 12 inches to get the hell off the table. They had enough of this fight, which was great because now it freed up my chariots and my Higher Titan to go and get into the combat with the Skeleton Warriors, hopefully, finish them off, get me all those points, and then maybe before turn 6, get over to the other 2 units that are in combat with the Tomb Guard, because that one's floundering because he cannot stop making saves. I wish he would. But yeah, it was nice that unit of knights decided to flee up the table. There they are right there, completely unharmed, just, maybe the lady's mad at him a little bit, but other than that, yeah, they got off the board and went home. During his magic phase, she got off Throne of Vines. I really don't understand why. I let it go. I just didn't care. And then during the combat phase, my warriors actually win combat. I only lose 2. I think I kill 2 or 3 of his knights. I win this combat, but they don't break. Neither of them break. The BSB almost did. He rolled boxcars, but since it's a BSB, he got to re-roll it, and he was able to re-roll it and make it. So that's too bad. But I only lost 2 skeletons. I took 2 knights, which is a great trade. And yeah, this combat's really starting to turn my way, so I'm getting excited. Over here, oh my gosh. These knights went ballistic crazy and just beat the tar out of my Tomb Guard. They even put a wound on one of my stalkers, which really hurt. But every single wound I tried to do, with the exception of 2, I think 2 guys died, and the left unit there, he was able to ward save. Again, like 3 or 4 more killing blows just completely negated with 6 up ward saves. It was actually really frustrating because, believe it or not, these units really did well against these knights. Unfortunately, my opponent just rolled out of the box and stopped all the killing blows. But you know what? Me and the Lady of the Lake have always had a problem. And so, yeah, on my way home after this game, I did pee in a lake, just so everyone's straight on that. And yeah, I lose this combat. One of my stalkers pops, and unfortunately my War Sphinx pops. He did enough damage to finish him off, even past the -1 for being a construct, which was disheartening. I only have 1 Tomb Guard left, and I have a Necro Tech in there. I have 2 stalkers left, but this combat's looking bad over here. And you know what, though? Against any other unit that had either a lower armor save or, if he had just rolled average and I was able to, get those killing blows through, it would have been glorious. Not a fair fight, with the lady cheating and stuff, but it is what it is. Can't fault my opponent for rolling out of the box. So we go over here to top of 5 after movement, and for the most part, you're looking at my skeletons move back a little bit so that the Higher Titan and the the chariots can eventually charge into the flank of the unit that's in the skeleton warriors, and everything else that I have is dead in combat or useless, like the Screaming Skull Catapult. That hasn't done anything this game because it either missed or misfired, or didn't have a target. During my magic phase, yeah, it's off the charts. I'm able to get +1 attack, 5-up ward save, and killing blow off on my skeleton warriors, adding almost a full rank to the unit, which is glorious because, yeah, now they have +1 attack with killing blow and a 5++. Feeling pretty good about this. Looking forward to the combat phase. And then over here, I was able to bring back, I think, 8 of my Tomb Guard, which was incredibly good because they were almost screwed. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 9 Tomb Guard now on there, and the Necrotech. So that's something. I'm glad that they came back. During the combat phase over here, as you can see, the lady has forsaken the Bretonnian general and the prophetess. The general takes 2 wounds. The unit gets vaporized by my horde of killing blows. I'm able to make a decent amount of 5-up board saves. I only lose 3 skeletons, which is just amazing in my mind. Needless to say, the Bretonnian lord and the damsel break and they flee and they get away. I'm not able to catch them. I don't get a picture of it because, to be perfectly honest with you, I was so excited about this army working the way I hoped it would that I kind of forgot to take pictures, so I suck. But that's what happened. I swear it. Over here in combat, he makes... I only get 2 killing blows off again, and he saves them both. The one model that died is just from a regular strength 4 wound. You know, I mean, the Tomb Guard are doing real well. My opponent is just ward saving the crap out of them, and I can't fault them for it. I end up losing this combat, but not too bad. I think I lose by 2, so I lost the back rank of Tomb Guard, and I lose another Stalker, and the other one that's left has like 2 wounds on him. So it's not looking good for the home team over here, but you know what? I can't be upset. My Tomb Guard actually have performed exactly like I would hope they would. Unfortunately, the Lady of the Lake is outdoing herself with ward saves. So what can you do? Everything else worked out pretty good here, like it was supposed to. Just, you can't plan for hot dice, you know? So we go over here to bottom of 5 after movement, and the Lord and the Damsel rally, and everything else that the Bretonnian has is dead or in combat. During his magic phase, he gets Wisdom's Wild Form off on the unit, the smaller unit of knights. I'm not 100% sure why I didn't stop it. Maybe I stopped other stuff and I ran out of dice. I don't recall, but he gets it off, and that's a shame. Because then we go into combat, and once again, this one actually had nothing to do with the lady. These poor bastards just, they finally got out enduranced. He did enough wounds and was able to save. These were just armor saves, which is completely expected. I don't believe I rolled any killing blows. I have 2 Tomb Guard left and a Necrotech, so all I can do is hope to bring some back and maybe just deny him the points. You know, it is bottom of 5, but it wasn't looking good. And I lose the Stalker, which broke my heart because I love those models. So here's top of 6 after movement, and my Skeleton Warriors charge his Bretonnian Lord and this Damsel, who are a unit right now, and they flee. And the coolest part about this is they were 5 inches away, right? So there's a chance I could still catch them. So I roll my 2d6, and I roll boxcars. It's absolutely phenomenal. Guess what my opponent rolls to get away? Boxcars! Oh man, he rolls 2 6s and a 4. It was devastating. I'm like, I caught him! No! So they got away. Oh man, that sucked. And since it's top of 6, and I know there's no way I'm going to be able to get my chariots nor my my Hydro Titan over to the unit on the right, because nothing in the Tomb King army can ever march. It's very adamant about that in the rulebook. There's no way I'm going to be able to get him over there. It's something that's actually something that I'm not used to yet. I just moved him closer, figuring I could try to shoot him off the table with magic or whatever, because the Hero Titan does have a couple of has a magic missile and a direct damage, so there's a chance I could take him out with that. Other than that, everything I have is dead or in combat. There's a better picture of the Bretonnian Lord and the Damsel getting away from the Skeleton Warriors, which was really a shame. Or did they? I use the Screaming Skull Catapult, and I target his Bretonnian Lord, and I direct hit, as you can see from the dice on the screen. And it's glorious. I hit, I wound, he no longer has a ward save because the lady forgets. And skadoosh! I pulverize his lord, which is just fantastic. And the damsel I actually failed to win. I roll a 1, so not a big deal. But I got his lord in the end, and as you can see, there was a huge crater in the ground. We had some fun with it. Over here in combat, I was able to, during the match phase, to get a few more Tomb Guard back. But in this one, I actually think I lose combat, or I won it, or it was a tie. I can't remember. But bottom line is, this is how it ends up in the end. I was able to kill one guy with a killing blow, no less, so that was nice. But yeah, the Necrotech's got a wound. I lose another 1 or 2 Tomb Guard, and we stick it out. But he's still got a lot of healthy knights, and I'm really running out of stuff. So it's not looking good for the home team here. So we go to bottom of 6, and you're looking at it. There's nothing left. I think the damsel rallies in the crater, which is good for her, and nothing else is alive. So, nothing happens in the magic phase. So during combat, yeah, they're able to finish off the rest of the Tomb Guard and the Necrotech. There's just nothing left I can do. It's a damn shame, but you know what? They earned it. They really, really earned it, and I'm not going to complain because that was actually awesome. But there it is. There's the end of the game after all was said and done. As you can see, it was a hell of a first game for the Tomb Kings. And you know what? For the Bretonnians too. This was my buddy's first attempt with the Bretonnians, and it worked. Well, I'm sorry, maybe not the first attempt, but probably the first attempt against Tomb Kings. We could say that. But yeah, for the most part, it went really, really well. But you know what? I'm going to let everybody digest what just happened. We're going to watch a quick ad, and then we'll get to the recap. It's time for a quick timeout. Hey guys, I know I've already talked to you about this before, but you should really check these pictures out because they were all painted, including my model, by Unleashed Wargaming. And they have their email right up there at the top of the page, and they've also got it down there. They got a YouTube channel. He's working on a website. It's not quite ready yet, but yeah, really, if you get a chance, check these guys out. If you're looking for someone to paint your stuff real good, seriously, check these guys out. Go to his, send him an email, check out his YouTube page. It's really worth your time. It's a phenomenal job. It's quick, it's painless. You don't have to worry about painting your stuff. And soon I'll be running a model that these guys painted for me, and I'm very excited about that. But check out these pictures. Give this guy an email. Check him out on YouTube. Get your models painted by him if you can. It's totally worth it. And tell him Tremendous sent you. So after everything was said and done, we totaled up the points, well, he totaled up how many points he had left, and I ended up having that, left in models and stuff. So it was a victory for Lord Tremendous. The first victory I have tasted in about 4 or 5 battle reports, which I actually forgot how sweet it could taste. My Tomb Kings, I ended up losing my BSB, both of my Necrotechs, my War Sphinx, my Stalkers, and my Tomb Guard. Which, you know what? Everything performed admirably. I don't have a problem with what I ended up losing or how I lost it. It is what it is. But I think I would have lost less if my opponent wasn't so, cozy with the Lady of the Lake. The Bretonnians ended up losing their Paladin on a Pegasus, their General, their BSB, their Grail Knights, their Questing Knights, and 1 unit of Knights of the Realm, which was awesome. That was a lot of death considering, I have what's considered a low-tier army, probably bottom of the tier. And let's face it, the way the General died was just poetic. But I gotta be honest with you, Tomb Kings are incredibly fun to play. Maybe it's because it's new to me. Maybe it's because I don't have to take break checks. I don't know, but I really had a lot of fun. I mean, an amazing amount of fun with the Tomb Kings. Really happy I chose this army. I can't even begin to tell you. And speaking of which, I didn't have to take any break checks. I actually accidentally did with the War Sphinx, and I failed it. And then I realized, wait, no, I just crumbled, but I only lost my 1, so I'm okay. There's no bad things happening to me. Yay! I was so happy I didn't have to take any break checks. I can't even begin to tell you. I think maybe I found my forever army. I don't know. We'll see. It's game 1. Really like the way the army works. I am far from done with experimenting with these lists, but so far I'm really enjoying the way the army works. I can see a few changes. Obviously, I change a lot of the kits and the way the characters are, but for the most part, the actual units I took, I don't dislike any of them. They all did exactly what I wanted them to do, how I wanted them to do it. They did well at it. So yeah, for the most part, I really enjoyed the way it felt, the way it played. So we'll see, we'll see. I was stunned to see how much abuse the skeleton warriors could stand up to with just hand weapon shield. Granted, weapon skill 6, but still, it was quite entertaining to see just how well the skeletons warriors could do against 2 units of lances. I mean, it was pretty cool. The knights on the tomb guard were heavily favored by the lady. He must have stopped close to a dozen killing blows, give or take. Maybe more like 8, but still, I mean, he stopped a lot of killing blows with the 6-up ward save. And math says no, but apparently the dice can't stop saying yes. Can't fault him for it, can't fault the Tomb Guard for it. It was fun, it's just the way it goes sometimes. But that was kind of cool. The Stalkers, they did well, considering I rolled like butt for their shots, but those shots were very cool. I like the way they work, I like the way they felt. The War Sphinx. Oh my god, I can't say enough good things about that thing. I cannot wait until I get it into the flank or even the front of some nice, juicy infantry that's toughness 3, and I attempt that little, because it does like this little template attack where it's like basically a direct hit with a stone thrower. Very excited to try that. Very, 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 very excited. What else? The Hero Titan and the Chariots. The Hero Titan really, it was the deterrent to go after from anything going after my archers and my my Hierophant, which it did beautifully. Stopped that unit of lances cold all game. The chariots, I feel like maybe I used them incorrectly, or maybe I used them correctly. I don't know. I like them though. Again, there's no complaints about this army, and it easily could have went the other way. I could have easily lost, but it felt good. It really did. But this was an amazingly fun game, really fun opponent, and I'm looking forward to my next game with the Tomb Kings more so than I ever did really with the Warriors. So this is a good match for me. This is a good match, and you know what? Since I won this game, everybody, you have to admit, I am a tactical genius. I can't even say that. So yeah. But really, really fun game. Really enjoying the new army. I hope you guys are too. If not, honestly, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna keep playing them. I'm sorry. Dislike it all you want. I'm gonna keep playing the Tomb Kings. They're a lot of fun. But yeah, guys, that's gonna do it for this battle report number 142. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did, because these things are a blast to play. And yeah, maybe one day we'll meet up and you'll get a game against my Tomb Kings. Should be a lot of fun. As always, though, feel free to put any comments, questions, concerns, or complaints into the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as quick as I can. But yeah, guys, thanks.